What's the problem? Right, well, can you bring it back over here quickly and then I'll sort it out? I don't know what she's watching, to be honest. Random.
Well,
probably something bloody Disney related, likely.
My followers are listening to you and your daughter's quarrels.
Come on, right. What have you done?
One sec.
Right,
I'm gonna put you on mute and let me just intro it here. One sec.
Yeah, no worries. I'm done now.
Yo, people, welcome back to my channel. 7 p.m. stream today. Of course, most people are probably reacting to the World Cup news, but listen, for those who unfortunately won't get to see their team at the World Cup, I've still got one eye on the weekend, the Premier League. So I obviously have to talk about Spurs. I obviously have to talk about Newcastle, but I thought I'm going to speak about it. Let me get one of Newcastle's finest on my channel. Kendall, how you doing? You're on mute.
Oh. I wasn't muted to it. Yeah, I'm good though, thank you. Yeah, World Cup draw was okay, to be fair. Didn't mind it too much. Don't want to get too carried away though. Don't trust England very much. I'm going to be very honest. Don't trust us. But yeah, other than that, Newcastle, glad it's back. Can't believe I'm sat here actually excited for Newcastle to play football now. It's a little bit wild, but yeah, excited.
Yeah, I remember. I remember back in, I think it might have been November. It might have been late November, where I remember there was just one tweet for you that had me in stitches. You're like, literally couldn't care less if all this team was sold. But I think you call him Maxi.
Yeah,
Maxi and Joe Linton or whatever. Yeah. So I think it was like two players. You said, yeah, you'd want to keep and the rest want to bin. Has that attitude changed now?
Oh yeah, huge. I don't want to know where to go now. I want to keep them all, every single one. Now, not every single one, but yeah, big majority of them now. I would like to see stay. To be honest, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
We fickle. Little football fans are so fickle. Like you don't understand. Like we're so flip floppy. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, definitely. I think everyone flip flops. It's just there needs to be an element of rationale in your flip flopping. Like you can't just go back and forth for no reason. Like I think, and that's one of the things that people fail to register. Like humans, they make mistakes, and even beyond making mistakes, humans are allowed to change their opinion. You're allowed to assess the situation, look at the facts. If there's an upward trend or downward trend, it's obviously going to play a part in your opinion, is it not?
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, with that in mind, let's actually get into specifics. Let's talk about the game itself then. So obviously you lot rocking up to our stadium. This will be the third time you will have played at our new stadium as well. I mean, your record's pretty good at our ground. 2 games played, 4 points taken out of 6. I would argue that one of those points was completely undeserved, but I can't make a case for the other 3. I think that the first 3 points you gained there was actually deserved. But how do you feel about this fixture?
It's always a funny one for me because, as you say, it's been a little bit of a mixed bag. The past few results that we've had against you guys, I always remember just for some reason on the last day of the season, it must have been about we'd already been relegated and we beat you 5-1 a few years ago. And I always think about that, and I always it's something that always stands out in my memory because I'm like, how can you be relegated and then go you've got nothing to play for? You're literally already down. And go and beat someone 5-1. It's just mad. Why couldn't we do that? Then we might not have been relegated. It's always mad. But yeah, it's always a little bit of a funny fixture. And to be fair, it'll always be one that lives in my memory now because you were the first fixture that we played at St James's after the takeover. So yeah, it'll always stick in my memory now, and I'll always remember it. And the atmosphere was the best that I've ever seen it at St James's Park. To be fair, that game. So yeah, bit of a mixed bag. I don't genuinely even know what will happen, to be fair.
Yeah, I was actually meant to go to that game as well, but it was I think it was, I can't remember what the situation was that stopped me from going. I think it might have been a mate's birthday or something, but it was my friend's son's christening. But I remember that game, and I made it just before because I was watching it on my phone on the way back. And I remember the atmosphere, it was mad. I saw the ground, there was quite a lot of noise and stuff like that. I mean, like I've been to your ground a couple of times, and the support is usually good, but that one was next level. What I wanted to ask is, do you think that the takeover has like sort of united your fan base then? Because I know it must have been a pretty shit couple of years for you, like under Steve Bruce. I can't lie. So you tell me, what's the fan perception like now?
It's changed significantly. So, for anyone that doesn't know, I've had a season ticket now for this is my 16th season. Having a season ticket at Newcastle. So I've seen basically Mike Ashley took over in 2007. So basically all I've ever seen is Mike Ashley, which is actually like very, very depressing. And especially like the Steve Bruce like years, that was just embarrassing because there was just no ambition there. Like a manager that openly states in 2020 that he does not do tactics. It's like, why are you even a football manager? Like, what are you actually going to do in a game if you don't do tactics? Like, what are you actually doing? So yeah, it was like under Steve Bruce was just horrible. Me and you did several streams together in the past, and you know how much I absolutely hated it. I was like really. I think the fans are just at a point they just didn't care anymore. So the takeover, like it came at the wrong time, but also probably the best time because like I just don't think anyone could take anymore. Like genuinely we had to give away 10,000 season tickets at one point because nobody was attending the games anymore. Like, and for Newcastle fans who even you said yourself are loyal, like that's just madness. So to see the change, I've never seen atmosphere like it in my whole time that I've gone there. And my dad's had a season ticket for 35 years and he said he's never seen, like, apart from European nights, he's never seen atmosphere like that, like at the moment. And we're not even good like at the minute. So like we haven't done anything. We still can get relegated mathematically. So it's like madness. I actually love going to the games now. I genuinely enjoy it and enjoy watching the football. So it makes all the difference, really.
Oh boy, I wish I shared that same enthusiasm with Spurs. It's just, it's a bit of a mixed bag for us. Like this game on Sunday, I'm really looking forward to it, and I'll explain why as we go through. But with Spurs, it's kind of a mixed bag. Like the West Ham game, I looked forward to, but the Man United game, I wasn't really looking forward to. Like they're just with Spurs, just because of our inconsistent nature, there are just certain matches where I'm like, I just approach it with sort of like hesitation because I'm like, oh, I don't know what team's gonna turn up today, really and truly. But anyway, let's talk managers. We'll talk on Conte later, but let's talk about Eddie Howe because I think with Eddie Howe, he actually got quite a bit of flack before he even got the job in the first place. Because I remember like the conversation was, listen, this guy it was only just maybe like a year and a half ago that he got Bournemouth relegated. Is he the type of manager to come into a side who are bereft of technical quality and get them playing a way that can accumulate them points beyond the style? Talk to me about Eddie Howe. Like what are the noticeable differences in your team that you think he's added?
So just off the bounce, I was like, I don't really know the word. I was pretty underwhelmed by the managerial appointment at the time because obviously the week before, Unai Emery was pretty much signed. He had agreed personal terms, and then the night before the Champions League game said, "I'm not going to Newcastle anymore," because he was not happy with the way that the media had handled it. He was not happy with the leaks that had come prior to him signing. So when the Eddie Howe thing happened, it was a little bit annoying because it took like 3 weeks longer to get a manager than it probably should have, just simply because we were messing around a little bit. The whole Unai Emery thing happened. So when we got Eddie Howe, we'd already been linked with Eddie Howe way prior in the summer and even the summer before when Steve Bruce was manager. So I was just a bit like, that could have been done sooner. But I must admit, from pretty much, obviously we were unbeaten until the Chelsea game. Until March, end of March. So it's like he's come in, he's completely just changed the whole mentality of the team, and that was something that was quite evident that was missing. Like no one cared, all the players didn't bother. Like Steve Bruce's training was 3 days a week. St. Maximin was going back to France for a week whenever he felt like it because he was just like, see you later, I can just go and do what I want. Like he wouldn't show up and he would be out with an illness, but really he'd be on holiday in France because Steve Bruce just let him do that. Like just honestly, it was just madness. It wasn't even run like a football club. It was like a frigging holiday camp, and 1 day a week he showed up. So just watching us play, like if you've even watched us, Tobi, yourself, like anyone who isn't a Newcastle fan, like you'll see the difference straight away. We actually have a tactical plan now. we actually are tactically attacking minded now, which is something that I've not seen us even be, even under Rafa. We were tactically attacking minded. I don't even think I've seen us be like play attacking for about 12 years since we were under Alan Pardew. So, like, for me to actually that be our MO and we go into a game trying to win, like, that's just a massive change now. We're actually not going into a game thinking, 1-0 loss will be all right.
Yeah.
Because that's genuinely how it was at some points.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and I have actually watched a fair bit of you, and I completely agree. Like, I think like a game like West Ham springs to mind. I knew full well Newcastle were not gonna lose that game, and the approach I think is what is refreshing. Like you're right, he's going out in these games and he's going to win. And I think what's actually like that part I always knew would come with Eddie Howe, because I think he's really good at coaching like a methodology.
Methodical.
Yeah, he's quite that's the word. He's quite methodical when it comes to coaching sides who want to attack. I think what has impressed me even more is the defensive work. I think Newcastle have that's not a good defense. That's a really, really bad defense. And I think, of course, the additions that you made in January helped in terms of how quickly they settled into your team. But I think from a structural perspective as well, you associated Bournemouth sides with a side who could play football, could score a couple goals here and there, but they shipped him way too many goals. And to see him go from that to what I've seen at Newcastle, where they actually do look like they have a plan out of possession, it's really good to see. So honestly, all credit to Eddie Howe, because I think he was taking pelters, man. And I think with him,
100%, everyone was just moaning about Eddie Howe's not good enough. He got Bournemouth relegated. Like, so to be fair, I'm actually glad though, because I think he knows himself. He's got a point to prove now. Like, he probably thinks to himself, well, I'm not like that at all. Like, if you've ever, it is as well, to be fair, a lot of people don't know, but in the summer, like just last summer, he did actually go and train and shadow Diego Simeone and Jurgen Klopp for a good few months.
Really?
So yeah, so two of the best managers in the world he's got a lot of tips from. I think hence why the Trippier deal was done pretty quickly, in my opinion. Because he has quite a good relationship with Diego Simeone. So a lot of people don't know that, but he's obviously learned some really, really good things, and he's shown it on the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, I like Eddie Howe. My friends know this. They will take the piss out of me because I remember that I infamously said in a group chat one time that, like, and this isn't a diss, by the way. It was just because obviously when we had sacked Pochettino and Mourinho came in, I said I don't want Mourinho that bad that I'll happily take Eddie Howe over Mourinho. And they're like, oh, what? You think Eddie Howe's better than Mourinho? I said, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that I'll take a manager who I don't think is ready for this level over Mourinho, just because I know the pitfalls of having a manager like Mourinho. But listen, I like Howe, man. Props to him. I must admit, I was really interested to see how he would approach this job, because for me, I'm happy he got it, and I think he's a manager that a lot of people have disrespected because of what happened with Bournemouth. They look at the bad times and they don't look at the good times. They don't look at the sustainability that he had with Bournemouth in the couple of years that they were in the Premier League. But anyway, moving on from Eddie Howe, I've got to move on to Antonio Conte. So another manager who came in mid-season. From an outsider looking in, what's your assessment of Conte so far at Spurs?
I think Conte is a funny one, because especially with the likes of obviously Daniel Levy, because we know that he turned down the job in the summer and was like, and said he didn't want to take over at that point, just due to various things that were going on. And then obviously he ended up with Nuno, and then a couple of months later, we're back to Conte again. The only thing I think with Conte is the board have just got to listen to him, regardless. And I know your board specifically are extremely hard to negotiate with. Daniel Levy especially is like plays extreme hardball when it comes to transfers, and if he doesn't want things to go, as we saw with Harry Kane. But the signs that he made in January, fantastic. Hit the ground running, haven't even needed time to bed in the Premier League. Kulusevski looks incredible. Again, I always knew he was decent, but he just looks brilliant. So it's just they've just hit the ground running, as I said, and they've come in, and Antonio Conte is a winner. So no matter what, regardless of anything, even if your squad's not up to scratch, even if you don't think the team's where it needs to be, he has got that mentality and he will instill that mentality in these players regardless. And I think we're seeing it now because much like Eddie Howe, there's players who have improved, like Joe Linton, for example, obviously a big standout. He's improved significantly under Eddie Howe.
Yep.
There's players like Eric Dyer who have now, people are saying, oh, you can't drop Eric Dyer. And I'm like, bloody hell, a few years ago it was like, see you later, Eric Dyer. Like Eric Dyer is Dyer. Like, and there's like certain players like that who have now completely changed the tune. Even Harry Kane was falling off a little bit at the beginning of the season, and you know, people were saying, well, maybe we should have took that 150 million off Man City. But now, again, he's absolutely unplayable. Best striker in the league. Again, like he's just unplayable, and it's just a manager that takes that little edge to make everything better. And now Kane and Son are, you know, best duo in the league again, and I did do that because I know that'll be up for debate to some people. But yeah, it just looked really good. And I love Antonio Conte as a manager. I think regardless of his little flip-flopping that he does, you know, when you lose and he's like, I can't do anything with this team. I don't know what I'm going to do. And he acts all like he's having a coronary because he's like, can't do anything with the team. And then the next week, it's the best team I've ever had. His little flip-flopping. But other than that, I think it'll be fine. And again, like all managers, he needs a little bit of time, no matter how good you are. And time's just proven pretty well at the moment.
Yeah, I think with Conte, the thing that really impresses me the most about him, and I'm not saying this to say that Spurs are this chance creation machine, because I still think we ultimately need better chance creators in the team. But I think it's noticeable, like Ty says, it's noticeable how many more chances we've created under his management than we did under Nuno. Some people will point to the fact that, oh yeah, we've gotten Kulusevski and Bentancur in January, and they definitely have helped. Bentancur, he progresses the ball more when he can. Kulusevski gives us that additional option on the right-hand side, which Lucas Moura didn't give us. But even before they came in, Spurs were a team whose chance creation per game had increased dramatically from what we saw under Nuno. Now, there's two sides to this. One, you could argue that Nuno was performing incredibly bad, because he was. In terms of chance creation, he was like, if you scored the first goal, you'd have to be a really, really bad side to let us back into the game, i.e. Newcastle at the time.
Great. Do you know what? I ignore that a little bit because we were still like very Steve Bruce at that point. So, you know, I just ignore that a little bit on the side.
Yeah, but like it was that bad. Like we could go 1-0 down and we're like, oh shit, we're probably not going to win this game here. And that's how bad it was. And I'm not trying to say this to say that Antonio Conte has been like amazing at Spurs. We've had our tough periods on the Conte. He's had tough periods. He's made mistakes. He's made mistakes at Tottenham. But I think for the most part, the one thing which I will never forget or take for granted is this guy is a world-class coach that really has no business being at Spurs. Yeah. Some Spurs fans don't like me saying this, but it's the truth. He has no business being at Spurs, and he's here. And he's someone who definitely makes us better more than he does make us worse, if that makes sense. So I think the only way is up if the club give him the necessary backing that he needs. And I think that's one thing. I think that's one thing which, of course, when you compare both managers, Eddie Howe has the full weight of is it Saudi Arabia? The full weight of Saudi Arabia behind him. He's got the cash. He's got the resources. That's the one thing Antonio Conte is lacking, really and truly. And then I wanted to speak about that as well. So I know, of course, that from a morality perspective, I'm not really going to go into that, but we know about the morality issues with your ownership. But generally, like, are you comfortable with the fact that if this does bring you success, you're breeding success through like outspending the rest of the teams? Because me personally, I don't really have an issue with that. If you got money, you got money. If you ain't got money, get your money up. As far as I'm concerned, what's your take on the whole sort of organic versus bought situation?
Yeah. So I think it's funny because like we're probably at this point in time, apart from Man City, but obviously it was very different a few years ago because FFP wasn't really a thing. It wasn't a regulated thing as it is now. So we're probably in terms of a huge takeover from us going from like literally 0 to like 100. We're probably the only people that can speak on it in terms of a club at the moment. And it's a weird thing because I've always said I want it to be organic, and I think because we have like that kind of that anchor in like Amanda Staveley, who she's Northern herself, she's from Yorkshire, and she has tried to buy the club since 2016. So I think we have that anchor and we have that like kind of link back to actually reality, and we're not being, you know, managed or controlled in respect of money. Yes, we are financially being managed and controlled by you know, PIF in Saudi Arabia, but to have that anchor and have that public face and that person who deals with a lot of the club, I think we are going to have that organic element because Newcastle in general is just a place aside from the club. It's a very working class area. The northeast is a very low income area, and obviously the club's built on working class roots. That's what it is, and I don't think it'll lose that. I hope it doesn't lose that, but I think a lot of people won't be on the same page, and a lot of people will be saying, "Oh, well, you know, if it gets us trophies and we do this, that, and the other, then they don't really care." And I do see that side of it as well. I don't mind if you kind of buy success because that is what football is now. Unfortunately, that's not our fault. As consumers, that's of football, that's what we have to accept now. It is a business. It is a money-orientated thing now. It is not something that you can organically do like a lot of clubs have now. Like Leicester winning the league was an anomaly. Let's just be quite clear on that, because even though they have money, they had a decent takeover as well. Their owners have spent a lot of money on their area and stuff. But unfortunately, now money is the thing to have in football. Although we've got to remember as well, doesn't buy a success. Look how terribly Everton has spent over the last few years, and they are literally battling relegation right now. So for me, it's way more important. I don't care how long it takes us to win a cup. I've gone however long. We haven't won like a decent major trophy since 1960 or like 1965, whatever. So I wasn't even alive then. So I don't know what it's like to win anything apart from a championship in the Intertoto Cup. If anyone remembers that, big.
I remember that.
We won that 2006. And I don't know what it's like to win anything other than that. So for me, it doesn't matter how long it takes. I just want to do it properly. I want a decent director of football in. We've just brought a first performance team and analyst in who we've not had anything like that in our lives. So I just want to do it properly rather than just let's go and chuck like 150 million at somebody and hope that they sign for us, and like they might be shit like Lukaku. Like, do you know what I mean? Like it might just, I'm not saying Lukaku's shit, but in terms of Chelsea, it hasn't worked out for him at the moment again.
Yeah.
So I want to I just want to do it properly. And luckily January, I was glad because we didn't spend stupid. We spent a significant amount than what we would have normally, but we didn't spend stupidly. We bought Bruno Guimaraes, who is an absolutely unbelievable player. Like literally, I still even can't believe he plays for us at this point. Kieran Trippier, 12 million, La Liga winner. Like, you know yourself about Kieran Trippier. I've said before, I think you've probably been on his shows with me before, I love Kieran Trippier. Like, I've literally loved him for like 3 years. Dan Burn, 30 million. Really good centre-back at the moment, doing absolutely incredible things. Matt Targett loan. I'm trying to think of who else we brought in. Oh, Chris Wood. Let's just ignore Chris Wood. Let's just not mention that. Glad I forgot it. Let's just not mention that at the moment. But yeah, as long as we do stuff properly and we're not stupid and we don't spend recklessly and end up in a terrible position, because they are being really stringent on FFP now. They've obviously brought in new rules last week. Yeah, as long as we do that, we'll be all right. But I don't care if everyone hates that we have money. I literally don't care. We have literally had a net spend of £0. £0 Mike Ashley put in Trowel Club. Do you just know that? Actually, that's not an exaggeration. 0 Great British pounds he put in to our club, right? This is the God's honest truth. So I will quite happily have a £300 million transfer window, right? Yeah. And I'll quite happily enjoy myself on it as well, because I have gone through some crap. Like, as Newcastle fans, we have gone through some absolute crap in retrospect. I know obviously other clubs have struggled a bit more than us, but we've gone through Mike Ashley era. So you know what? I'll take it. I'll take it at this point in time.
Fair enough. Listen, I would take it too if it were me. I would happily. I'll take it. I'll take anything with I'd take any sort of cash with some sort of sensible approach over what we got right now anyway. But listen, like you said, you could end up on the bad side, which is Everton, where you have more money than sense and you put yourself into a hole.
Look at PSG as well. I know they're probably going to win the league. Okay. But like Champions League and stuff, they always fumble because even though look at their team, they've got like the most immense talent in their team, but they're individuals. Like they don't play as a team, and they've just chucked loads of money at silly things. And I don't want to do that. Like as a club, I don't want to be that team that just goes out and buys whatever just to try and win, and then just wins nothing. Like Man United have had really poor recruitment in the last few years, and I just don't want to be that. I want everything like to be hopefully done properly and actually build like a proper team that I can actually like enjoy.
Yeah, fair enough. Fair. I totally get it. I totally understand it. Now, listen, let's get back onto the matter at hand. This weekend, like I said, Newcastle always have a funny way of getting results at our ground. It's weird. I literally remember back in, when was it? I think it was like 2006. 2006. Yeah, 2006. I can't remember what season it was. It was just either the first or second season you lot had Obafemi Martins. And he bagged
yes, we signed in 2006. So yeah,
he bagged the brace at White Hart Lane. You lot won that game 3-2. I just remember like Newcastle had this funny way of just getting results. I remember there was another one as well. We lost it 1-0. 2013. Tim Krul had a blinder. Right. Had an absolute blinder.
Probably the only good game he had in his career.
Absolute blinder. Yeah, and then there was another one as well. I remember again. Yeah. Eric Dyer scored a header. It was 2015, the season when we were going for a title, and Ayoze Perez, he scored a late goal to make it 2-1. I remember like it's just weird. It's weird. Sorry,
someone just put in the comments that they can hear someone singing in the background. It's my daughter's tablet. Yeah. She's listening to some like Disney or something.
Yeah. Sorry about that, Bainesy. But anyway, yeah. So I think with this, I'm very much aware that Newcastle can be jammy in these fixtures and they can come here and frustrate Spurs. But me personally, I'm looking at this now where games like Newcastle, no disrespect, games like Newcastle at home, failure just simply isn't an option for Spurs. Like, you have to win these games, especially when we're in this so-called race for top four. I don't think Spurs are going to get it, but that's not to say that I don't want us to try. Antonio Conte literally said in his press conference today, like, we're going to give it our all. Like, we're going to have to push. We have to put pressure on ourselves and we have to put pressure on the teams above us. How can we push for this top four if we can't put together a run of games? That's the next step now. We've won 2 on the spin, yeah, albeit against an out of form Brighton side, and then people will say, "Oh yeah, a jaded West Ham side," but I don't care. We won 2 on the spin, and had we not have lost to Man United, that would have been 5 straight wins because we won 2 beforehand against 2 of the worst sides in the league in Everton and Leeds, and then of course 2 after against Brighton and West Ham. So that's the next step now for me as a Spurs fan. And what makes it even more important is that game. If we win that game, depending on the scoreline, we could go above Arsenal. So if we win it, we go level on points. If we win it with a comfortable margin, we could go above Arsenal. So for me, playtime is over. I don't know where your head's at from a Newcastle perspective, but as a Spurs fan, we actually have potentially something worth playing for, and we need to chase it down and give it our best shot.
Yeah, I get that, and I think that's what worries me at this point because I didn't really, especially against Tottenham, where, as we've both mentioned prior, like it's a bit of a weird situation. Like you never know who's going to win. People who really haven't watched our ties in the last few years will probably sit there and say, "Oh, Tottenham will win," just because of like where yous are and the team and things like that. And it's not necessarily always like that. And it's always a very strange game, very close normally. I mean, even when we were very terrible back in October, it was 3-2. So, you know, it just things like that.
That was a false result as well. That should have been way more than 3-2.
We were pretty bad at as well. But yeah, so it's one of them games that it's always weird. You just never know how it's going to go, how it's going to turn out. The problem is, as you said, got something to play for in terms of you might go above Arsenal. Now, that's really not good for us because at the moment we're still, I wouldn't say we're fighting relegation, but we're not mathematically safe. So a couple of results can kind of swing the table a very strange way when you're at the bottom. So really, we do have something to play for, but I don't think it's as pressurized as a result as maybe for you guys. Coming in the last few games of the season now, you want to get top 4, you want to get Champions League, and that makes total sense. So I don't want that to happen. You've improved your team since the last time we played. We've improved our team since the last time we played. So I think it's going to be very, very interesting. But it's not the end of the world if we don't get anything from this game, if that makes sense. Because probably, as I said, a lot of people are going to be like, well, Newcastle won't get anything from this. But I think, again, it'll be a decent game.
Yeah, listen, I'll be there front and center. I just hope Spurs win, to be honest. Like, I couldn't care less about the manner of the result. Just win, honestly.
Agent Willock, man. Agent Willock's going to come back. Sasha Foon again.
You know what? Fuck Joe Willock. Yeah, I said it. Fuck Joe Willock and fuck Joe Linton. I know he's your guy, but fuck Joe.
Joe Linton's my guy, man. I love Joe. You see, in fact, that picture here where my finger is, that's Joe Willock and Joe Linton.
Wait, I can't see it.
You can't see it from back there. I'm not going to pull it down because everything will fall. But yeah, Joe Willock and Joe Linton back there, my guys, man. We're the only team in the league to have a Joe midfield. So we've got Joe Linton, and Joe Willock. That's our midfield doing.
Do you reckon that's going to be the midfield three that starts?
Yes, only because Bruno's been on international duty with Brazil. So if that wasn't the case, I would have started Bruno. But he's not. He won't be, I assume, because he'll just be back from Brazil like maybe today. So I don't think that he will play. It'll be Joe Willock and Joe Linton. Yeah,
and John Joe playing in this sort of like deeper role, and John Joe playing the deepest, and it's weird. Joe Linton is almost Joe Linton and Joe Willock are basically like two sort of like eights.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like who I think Eddie Howe trusts. Probably Joe Linton more than Joe Willock to sort of get involved in the defensive phase, but when it talks about going forward, I think they both get given more license to attack. But I think I'm really interested to see how our midfield copes, because I think the one thing which we've struggled with this season is that numerical disadvantage. When we've played Conte's system, at times we've been overrun in the midfield easily, like quite easily. We've been overrun in the midfield. But I really think that Bentancur coming back into the team has given us some new life, and it's given us some hope that we can play in a 2. And I think Kulusevski, because of his ability to actually tuck in at times and help the midfield, I think we are navigating that midfield battle a lot better in recent weeks as well. So, and I think, as I said, Bentancur, I think he's a big part of that. But I'm interested to see now, because you've probably seen some of my tweets. I've been bad-mouthing Joe Linton, but I've only been bad-mouthing Joe Linton because I've heard some ludicrous statements about Joe.
From who? Not from us at all. Oh, it probably is from us.
I've heard it from some Newcastle fans. I think Matty, big up Matty from the Matt.
From Magpie channel. Yeah, Matty's my guy.
Channel, yeah. I've heard some ludicrous statements. So, listen,
do you know half the time if we say stuff, we're probably joking, but it's because like we want to back the players. It's like you just say stuff now, like, oh, Joe Linton, best midfielder in the world, and that. Like someone messaged me earlier and was like, oh, like just asking us questions about World Cup, and they were like, who do you think player of the tournament's going to be? And I was like, Joe Linton, but like he's not even called up, and they were like, really? Has he even got a call up? I was like, nah, but I'm just saying it.
Nah, and then I think the attack as well, the obvious threats on both sides. So us with the 1-2 punch plus Kulusevski on the right. But I'm interested to see who's actually going to play in your attack now, because I think your attack, it's not really straightforward to predict. Callum Wilson's been injured, but I read some weird report last week that he could have been back for this game.
No, so basically he's been training. Obviously, we went to Dubai for a training thing, and they actually don't even know if he's going to be back this season yet. They genuinely don't. Eddie Howe's come today and said that he doesn't he hopes that he will see Callum Wilson this season. So to me, that says he's not going to, because he kind of doesn't want to come and say, well, you know, we're not going to see him now. It'll be next season. He doesn't want to say that. He doesn't want to get fans a bit upset because Chris Wood's maybe not, you know, banging them here, there and everywhere. But yeah, Trippier, however, on the other hand, they're saying he's going to be back quite quickly. It won't be for Sunday. However, I think in about 2 weeks' time, Trippier will be back, which is another decent thing for us because there's a massive boost because he came into the side, which was immediately unbelievable. He's basically hit his like goal tally from the last 10 years in the only time that he's been here.
Yeah.
So it's just like a little bit mad, but yeah, Callum Wilson won't be back. Attack wise, it'll probably, as usual, be St. Maximin, Fraser, and Chris Wood. I would have assumed, because Eddie Howe said in his press conference this morning he's really excited to see St. Maximin. So that I am taking it as that he's going to play. Yeah. And I don't think he'll trust Jacob Murphy there, to be fair.
I think that's going to be like, I'm looking at key battles in this game, and I'm looking at danger zones for Spurs. I think that is going to be the obvious danger zone for Tottenham, because I think with St. Maximin playing on the left-hand side, his 1v1 ability is a joke. Like, I don't think I've seen anyone like, I've seen games where he has been contained. I've seen games definitely where he has been contained. I think like Tomiyasu for Arsenal, I think he had a really good game against St. Maximin.
Yep.
But I think for the most part, this guy is one of the most explosive players in the league. Probably at his best, I can't think of a better dribbler in the league. Like, I genuinely can't. Like, someone who can literally pick the ball up and go past players. I can't see who does that as well as St. Maximin in the league currently. And where we play Matt Doherty, because he will start, I think that's going to obviously be a place that Eddie Howe will look to exploit. Okay. And I think Romero is going to play a big part in this game because he's just our titan. Like, and I think he's gonna relish the battle with St. Maximin because I'll be real, he's going to make light work of Doherty. So it's really going to be St. Maximin versus Romero. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting to see how he manages this game. Like, what are you expecting from Newcastle on Sunday in terms of performance?
I think just with everything, I think we will go in with the mindset to win. That's always the first thing. It'll definitely be a measured approach this time because realistically, this is probably, apart from, I would say, Chelsea, who, to be fair, in all fairness, I was really impressed with how we played against Chelsea, and I was actually really upset at the result, which is mad how far we've come because I would never have expected to even get anything out of a Chelsea game, especially at Stamford Bridge. But I was really upset with the result. It was only 1-0, and we haven't really had a test since January, bearing in mind we went on our unbeaten run till Chelsea. We haven't really had a test of the likes of like a Kane and Son. For example, we haven't faced that at all. Mikel Antonio, when we played West Ham, he was right off his game at that point. He wasn't on form, and we've basically played like everyone around us. So we played Brighton, we played Southampton, we played Watford, we played Burnley, we played Everton, Leeds. So we haven't had like that test at all this year so far until Chelsea. So I think it'll be a much more measured approach than we've seen with Eddie Howe. It'll be foot back regardless. That's how he plays and that's what it'll be. Defensively wise, I actually don't know who's going to come in because Fabian Schär was injured and he's been training, but he hasn't, I don't think he's trained fully. And then it'll probably be Dan Burn, but my issue with Dan Burn is both the last two games we've lost, it's no offense to him or anything because I think he's been really good, but it's individual errors by him that have ended up, we've lost 1-0 in the last two games. So I think regardless, it'll be him. Matt Targett, probably Emil Kraft, sadly.
Fantastic. Kraft that right back, yeah?
Did you see that video clip of him the other day on National Duty?
No, I didn't.
Oh my God, he literally did stay. He got nutmegged, right? And then suddenly, I don't know how he did it, right? He got nutmegged, but then he caught the ball on the back of his foot so that it didn't look as bad. And then he did like the most worldy turn and just got past whoever, I can't remember who they were playing now for Sweden. It got past and did the most unbelievable turn, little dribble, and off he went. I was like, where the friggin' hell has that come from? Like, literally, what on earth was that? But yeah, it'll probably be Kraft. I would have preferred it to be Manquillo, especially against Kane and Son.
Yeah.
Because Manquillo defensively is far more, like, just way better than Emil Kraft. But we might see that. That'll be something to keep an eye on. But other than that, yeah, I think it'll be very tactically measured. We won't be off trotting about the pitch trying to attack. In my opinion, I don't think we will, because the counter will be where you hit us if that's what we try and do. So yeah, be very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Because it's like both ends of the pitch are going to be like, it's different. Your defense is your weakest part, and our attack probably is our weakest part of the team at the moment. So it'll be a very strange, it'll be like a really weird situation to see how it plays out.
I think with you, the obvious threat is set pieces. Someone mentioned it in the comment. The obvious threat is set pieces. Joe Linton, Willock, Chris Wood. I think Joe Willock even scored from a set piece against us last season.
Yeah, he did.
The little wanker, the little Arsenal wanker. But anyway, listen. Honestly, yeah, I'm aware of Newcastle's threats. I'm aware of your upturn in form. I know you have lost your last two, but I think when you look at the progress in totality, that's very much an off-color Newcastle from what we've seen in 2022. But in all honesty, I couldn't give a monkey's. Spurs have to win this game. Honestly, I said it at the start, and I'm going to keep saying it. Anything less than 3 points, I'm going to hit the roof with anger. Like, we have to win.
When do you not hit the roof with anger? That's gonna be so funny. Oh, honestly, I can't wait.
Good question. You're right. When don't I? But honestly,
just Tottenham, they just calls you. Yeah. I know. I've been there. Honestly.
They do. They really do. I think for me, yeah, like, we have to win this game. Like, I'm looking at your team, matchup wise, we're superior. Manager wise, we're superior. We're in a decent moment right now. Like, I'm not even saying this to be cocky, because I've acknowledged the threats that you have. But in this moment, if you really want to be serious about top four, you have to win this game. Arsenal play Crystal Palace away on Monday night. It's not the easiest fixture. I'm probably tipping them to win, but you must admit that game is a lot harder for them psychologically going into it, knowing that we're right behind them, level on points, than it is with 3 points. Yeah. I think we need to win this game to lay our marker down and say, hey, look, we know that you have got a gap ahead of us. We know that you've got your game in hand, but we're going to try. We're going to try. We're not just going to go away.
Do you think you perform better when the pressure's on, or like not off, but like there's always pressure, but do you perform better when you're under a pressure like that, when you're looking towards something? Oh, right, okay.
That's when we usually crumble. That's why I'm saying this, because I need to see something different.
Okay.
For me to believe that Spurs will finish in the top four, I need to actually see it. With Spurs, seeing is believing. I need to see us win 4, 5, 6 on the spin. I need to see us go on a run. I need to see us take advantage of these home fixtures that we have. I need to see us take advantage of this so-called favorable fixture list we have in comparison to Arsenal, because that's the only way we'll get top four. That's the only reason Arsenal are in the top four now, because they've been by far and away the most consistent side of the lot. They won something like 10 of their last 13 games. It's that's the type of form it's taken for them to get into full spot. So that's what we're up against. That's what we have to match. That's what we have to match. So anyway, with that in mind, I wanted to ask you before we end it, what's your score prediction?
See, this is the thing. I don't want to predict us to win because I look delusional. So I never do that. And then if we lose, everyone's like, you thought you were going to win. So I hate that. And I also don't want to predict us to lose, because then if we lose, it'll be like, well, it's because you said we were going to lose. But so I always go pretty middle. And to be fair, this fixture is one of them fixtures that you actually, in my opinion, I don't think you can predict. And it's always pretty high scoring, apart from the Joe Linton winner, the 1-0. So if you want to remember that, everyone. So yeah, 2-2. That's my prediction.
I remember that game. Don't even remind me. I was so angry. That was literally he scored 2 goals that season, and that was one of them. He scored 2 goals that season. And when you look at the goals,
I think he's only scored maybe 1 or 2 since. Genuinely.
It's just ridiculous. Like, he had Davinson Sanchez, an absolute bozo, just leaves him in acres of space. Danny Rose and Sanchez get into a mess. Joelinton has got all his touch wasn't even good. His touch, he's not even set himself properly, but he's got all the time and space in the world to even have a bad touch, pick his spot. It's just I was fuming that game.
To be fair, Davinson Sanchez has been a bit of a cause of a lot of your terrible results, I must admit.
Exactly.
Poor guy.
exactly. But anyway, so you're going for 2-2. Listen, I'm a bit more sort of arrogant with this one. I think I'm gonna go for 3-1 Spurs win. I think we should get the job done. Like at home, off the back of 2 straight wins. Everyone seemingly everyone who started in our previous 2 games are fit. I think all the key players are available, ready to go. I'm going for Spurs to win this one.
I'm kind of glad the pressure's with you. I'm just a bit. That's what I'm glad about, because like we've got Wolves next, and I think probably that game for us is more winnable, if you will. Like not saying Wolves are bad because they're at home. I think Wolves are absolutely brilliant team, and I think their manager's incredible as well. But in terms of Wolves or Spurs, and Spurs away, then you would really be thinking that you would go to Wolves and wanting to win at home. So, I'm glad the pressure's with you, not us.
Yeah, listen, you're right. The pressure is on us, and hopefully we don't crumble under it like we usually do. But anyway, you know my prediction.
Gotta be Agent Willock, man. Agent Willock, gotta be. He's got to be tough on.
Honestly, I hate him so much. I hate him. I actually, and to be fair, I don't really hate him. I just don't rate him highly. I really don't. But it is what it is. He made me.
Tell him, everyone in the comments, tell him, oh, you won't, man, Spurs channel. Oh, I forget. You won't tell him that Arsenal player is good because, well, ex-Arsenal player. Why would you? But yeah, imagine Agent Joe Willock, Agent Joe. Oh, the big Joes are just going to come and get Spurs. Nah, I don't think they are, but we'll see.
Anyway, Kendall, thank you for hopping on. It's been good having you on, man. I know obviously you had to literally come home from work and jump on. So
don't worry, man. Thank you for having me, honestly.
Appreciated. I'm not wishing you any luck. I wish you the worst of luck on Sunday.
Good luck. I always like a little phrase. Good luck for the rest of the season, except against us.
I hope we honestly. I mean this with the most sincerity. I hope we absolutely pummel you on Sunday. Like I hope we batter you. But let's see what happens anyway. For those who are still watching as well, make sure you subscribe to Kendall's channel. The link to her channel is in the title as well. Make sure you smash a like. If you like what you've heard or watched, leave a comment as well. Make sure you subscribe to my channel if you're not subscribed already. I'll be back on Sunday for a post-match reaction straight after the game. Why am I saying straight after the game? I'm not going to be back home from the game until
you're there, man.
I'm not going to be back home from the game until about 8 o'clock, but I might even jump on IG Live on Sunday as well, maybe before or after. So look out for that as well. Again, Kendall, thanks for folks. Thank you for tuning in. Take care, peace out, and up the Spurs. Enjoy your weekend.